My name is Katie Groves, and I am a survivor of ritual abuse and mind control programming. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about spirituality and the return to the true self after RAMC, and really any kind of human atrocity. Growing up as a trafficked slave, I often asked, where was God? And I was often given an answer by my sociopathic, sadistic, and satanic, or Satanist, abusers. If there was a God, he would do something to stop this. They used to laugh and joke and mock me as they would come up to me to do some horrible violence to me or to somebody else. And they'd go, "If there's a God, smite me now." And they would wait with this excited look on their face, waiting for the lightning bolt to come down and strike them dead. And when it didn't happen, they would go on to rape me or the other child or kill a child and laugh in my face at the idea that I could have faith in a God, when obviously a loving, caring God wouldn't let them do that. So that was their proof that there was no higher power. And they would dress up as God, costumes, and put me through virtual reality simulations of God and other deities like Jesus, other religious figures, Satan as well. And they would do horrible things to me and other children to make us all feel like God didn't care. And they would dress up as Satan and put us in virtual reality with Satan to think that we were best friends and the only salvation that I had was through demonic ritualism, satanic abuse. I know all that to be bullshit, trickery, insanity, abuse now. As a child, this felt very real, and I struggled to retain a sense of self, a sense of spirituality, in the face of all of that deception and abuse. And I couldn't help but ask myself that question, where really was God? However, I had experiences. I prayed and I meditated constantly, and I had experiences that were not orchestrated by members of the cult, that proved to me in my heart the existence of something beyond human evil, or even beyond demonic evil, as I did have experiences in that realm too. And I came to find that there was a place in my heart where I knew what truth was, where I knew what reality was, and that it was deeply, firmly rooted in a connection with God. Now, when I say God, I don't mean God in the sense that just anyone means it. I mean it in the sense that I mean it. For me, it is a deeply personal thing. And I've been wary of speaking on this subject because I don't want my personal beliefs and experiences to influence anyone, or to just in a way that would detract from their own personal experience of finding their spirituality through the deprogramming process. But I felt inclined to speak about it today, as for the first time in my recovery, I've successfully been able to start reading about the Kabbalah, which is a beautiful, deeply spiritual branch of Jewish mysticism that has been horribly contorted and distorted by Satanists, satanic ritual abusers, and used in mind control programming in ways that do not actually ring true with what the Kabbalah truly teaches. And it has been challenging for me to go back and to reclaim my love for the Kabbalah and start studying it again, because I have so much trauma around it. But I've finally gotten to a place where I recognize that, like many other spiritual traditions that have been bastardized by satanic ritual abusers, the Kabbalah is not in itself evil. It has been used by quote-unquote evil people to deceive. And so I'm going back, and I'm finally, for the first time today, able to start reading about it again. And I've started having these amazing experiences where parts of me, who were programmed Kabbalistically, are undoing their programming and coming forward to share in a genuine passion for the actual spirituality that it teaches. I don't really know what else to say about it because most of the experience is nonverbal, deeply intuitive, heartfelt, and symbolic in nature. One of the other forms of spirituality that I have deeply sought to reclaim is Celtic and Druidic spirituality, which was used against me. And yet nothing they ever did, nothing my abusers could ever do, could take away my actual love for the earth and my relationship with the divine feminine, with higher entities who shared my love for earth. And as a child, I prayed to trees, specifically, worshipped them, because I found that to resonate with me on a level that simply could not be touched by the programming. So it never went away. And that's something that I've not had to reclaim because it never was truly lost, as much as I've had to simply strengthen and deepen with my newfound ability to think critically and consciously upon deprogramming myself. Now, I've ended up pretty much just talking about me, not so much talking more generally as I hoped to, as I'm hoping to really speak to people in this video, not to speak about myself. But I guess I can only ever really talk about this stuff through the lens of my own experiences. And I don't think that's self-centered as much as just a human reality. I think for me, the most important thing is to recognize that the systems I use to assist me in understanding God can never actually be the essence of God. And that the heart of religious teachings from all around the world appears to be that God is silence. And how true does that resonate for me, having experienced its antithesis in MKUltra, where I was bombarded with sound and stimulus, forced to think almost continuously. Very little internal presence was allowed to be cultivated, and I had to go to great lengths to develop those pockets of consciousness hidden from my abusers. Those pockets of consciousness hidden from my abusers in which I could actually freely relate to silence, have a breath, have stillness. And I find myself nowadays talking compulsively, struggling to meditate, and having a very hard time getting grounded in the stillness and the peace which I do know in my heart to be God. So, while I've had more experiences with noise and overstimulation than I have truly had with inner peace, I think that my biggest task, and the message that I have to share with any survivors who watch this, is that I think probably the biggest task in overcoming mind control is to learn how to be still. Not trance, not dissociate, but actually consciously and presently be still. How to connect, to deeply root to the earth and to the reality of this multidimensional universe in which we live. How to develop a conscious relationship with self that goes beyond thought, that goes beyond words, and simply is. That is a raw experience that my abusers did everything in their power to take away from me, and I don't think they even knew what it was. I don't think that people with certain personality disorders really experience that stillness or silence. Hardly, if at all. But they can instinctively smell it out, and they can smell it out most often, I think, in children, as children naturally carry this presence. As children are often closer to God than adults, because as we age, we tend to suffer more and accumulate more unconsciousness. And so, like a shark smelling blood, they may not conceptually know what it is they smell, but they seek desperately to destroy it. And so that war waged on my spirit resulted in a lot of bombardment, a lot of drugging, a lot of trauma, anything to keep my mind stimulated, to keep me unable to truly ground and experience inner peace. So that is how I'm controlled. That is how I was controlled. Constant noise. So I think that is the task, is to deeply and truly root in the awareness of silence, in that intangible thing that those sociopaths tried so desperately to take away when we were children. Thanks.